as we shift into this discussion on supply chains, Miles, would you mind presenting the first poll to our audience? Folks, we want to know how confident you currently are in your organization's ability to maintain uninterrupted production during a prolonged economic downturn. We'll give you a few minutes to get in there and answer. But I wanted to ask our panel, and John, I know we had a conversation earlier about the pandemic's impact on costs and equipment and material availability. And so I'm just curious to hear if you think, as well as everybody else afterwards, if you think prices have stabilized since the pandemic, or are we still kind of in this period of wild fluctuation in terms of equipment and material costs?
We're still seeing a lot of flux. The pandemic leaves a bad taste in our mouth, certainly for the years that we were going through it, when prices weren't being exploited, at least as far as what was impacting us, but certainly lead times were. We had some orders that stayed open for 13 months before they were fulfilled, and I'm sure that in plenty of those instances, large pharma was flexing its muscle as best they could with suppliers, which they should. But pricing's still been, I would say 2022, 2024 pricing was maybe back to a somewhat expected rate of increase, certainly in the raw material area, but where we've really seen wild fluctuations is actually around equipment. Standard off the shelf, frequent kind of things have been, I think, fall into that expected category. But when we start looking at like specialized equipment, I don't want to say the sky's been the limit because it hasn't been that obnoxious, but it's definitely been, we've seen some pretty aggressive pricing. And, if you're looking for something specific, at the end of the day, there's only so much you can shop around for. And we certainly had to be very careful in terms of our cash spend and looking at what we need. And we were certainly impacted by that. And when we think about impacts to China, a lot of it is, for us, a lot of it isn't as much raw materials as I think it is for the larger, pharmaceutical companies, but we've definitely been impacted on the tech side. Anything with a chip in it that came out in 2022, 2023 is flagged in our system as potentially being suspect.
Wow. Thanks, John. James, Adam, do you agree with that kind of reflection on the pandemic's impact on equipment costs?
Yeah, definitely. Anything that was started or under construction or in the process of being built during the pandemic, the cost definitely skyrocketed during that time. I think, as John exactly said, where we are now, it's not quite as extreme as it was during the pandemic, but we're still not in a period of stability. The prices still are fluctuating quite a bit.
Yeah. And on the topic of the pandemic, what, as it pertains to just kind of surviving through that operationally, what lessons have you carried forward from that madness of that economy and that time? How does that affect your approach to currently kind of protecting and maintaining your operations, despite what price tags are doing out there?
I think outside of price, if I can start, one thing that became very, very apparent during the pandemic was building more resilience into the supply chains, not just from a distribution to market point of view, but as well your raw materials, everything that's an input into the process. We went through a period of a lot of shortages, companies not being able to deliver due to the big disruption of supply chain. And supply chains in the past were built on just on time, single sourcing, and a lot of that was disrupted, right? And that's a lesson learned from the pandemic, is something to look at when you are building those supply chains to avoid those kind of traps, so that when these disruptions do happen, you are still able to meet your manufacturing requirements or demands.
Yeah, I agree. And I would add that ironically, during the pandemic, our hands are basically forced to go to Asia, to China and to India and places like that, because the Europe, for instance, we had a manufacturing group in Italy that just shut down. I mean, there was just no way to get our material out of there or shipped or worked on. And so things shifted to China. So that kind of, increased the volatility that led to this Biosecure Act, because they said, well, how how come so much manufacturing has shifted there? Because we had no choice. I mean, that's where the supply chain took us. So not sure how we reverse that. I mean, I think Biosecure is trying to do that, but I think people, and the politicians need to understand that this is why it happened. I think the biggest risk for us is that our business is so complex, and they're making decisions on a very complicated business without really understanding how things work. So I think, unfortunately, things will continue to get more expensive as we shift away from Asian manufacturing to the States or to Western Europe, where it's a more trustworthy source, according to the politicians. Costs will continue to go up. The question then becomes, how do we keep ourselves from extending that out to the patient? So it's going to be rough, but I'm very confident in our industry. We can think our way out of just about anything. There's been a lot of crisis management over the last 60, 70 years. So I expect we'll be able to get ourselves through it.
Thanks, James. I like the optimism. I tend to agree with you on that front. John, anything to add there?
Well, I think Adam is pretty spot on that, in terms of the way things were impacted, like I think we didn't really appreciate, or maybe we did, and we just trusted that it wasn't going to change, that just-in-time manufacturing and global distribution and low warehousing by suppliers worked until it didn't. So we thought that maybe a sense of normalcy would have returned by now, but obviously that hasn't happened yet. But I think in terms of lessons, it sort of keeps you poised to the fact that it can happen again. It can happen again at potentially any time. How businesses react to that are certainly going to be very different in terms of size and scale. But I think everyone in the back of their head is keeping a backup plan, and maybe not so much a risk assessment, well, definitely a risk assessment, but also, scenario planning of, well, okay, what if this happens? What if this happens, even if there are some low probabilities? I mean, I didn't put, potential tariffs in the UK, France, and Germany on my bingo card for this year. And that's potentially in play.
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. I'm Tyler Menichello, Chief Editor of Bioprocess Online, and thank you for watching. If you like that, you're going to love all the other content we have for you at Bioprocess Online. From archived live events to long-form videos, short-form videos, podcasts, expert contributed guest columns, newsletters, editorial from me, it's all over there at Bioprocess Online, just waiting for you to dig in. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, head on over to bioprocessonline.com, and I'll see you there.